Okay, showdown time. Big interview. We're bringing Leigh Diffey back onto the show here. Who'll be giving the call from the booth this weekend in Los Angeles. We'll all be there. Look, Leigh, we've been talking about this forever. It almost feels like Christmas or like I'm going to finally get to meet Santa Claus and see him come down the chimney. It's almost like we've talked about it so much. I can't believe it's actually going to be real, but we're just about there.
Weege, I think one of the great things in life is turning concept into reality, and then when it really is real, you've executed. There's such a satisfactory feeling, and while we're not there yet, there's one to go, 30 down, one to go. But just when Feld Entertainment, Feld Motorsports, and MX Sports collaborated and came up with this concept and said we're going to do this and we're going to make it count. Instead of being segregated, it's collaborative, and we're going to come together for the good, and we're going to see it across 31 rounds. People, I think, took a while to get their head around it. And even in season, people still didn't have their heads wrapped around it. And now here we are. Playoff 1 completed. Playoff 2 completed. We're now at the championship round. And I think there's just a really good feeling. And now that everybody does understand what it's about and they know what's on the line, it's just escalated and elevated everybody's feelings, heightened everybody's emotions. And it's kind of like this force for good,
You're rejoining us at such an interesting time because last week in Chicago, this storyline of Jett Lawrence and Ken Roczen, and of course, Chase Sexton is the points leader, and he's not even getting the headlines right now. But I'm curious to see your perspective, what you thought as you watched Jett wave Ken Roczen by, and then all of the comments afterwards and all the interpretation. And we truly don't really know what was going through Jett's mind at the time. We heard what he said. Everybody seems to have their own opinion, but what was your perspective? And also, what were the comments of other people you've talked to about what went on in Chicago?
That emoji with the head exploding, your mind exploding, that comes to mind, pardon the pun. It's not very often in any competition you see a leader wave an opponent by. So I'll park it there for that. And then it just gives us so much fodder to talk about and to wonder. And hey, if it all turns out Jett Lawrence's way, well, then he has the last laugh. But if it doesn't work out his way, I'm not sure. I'm kind of like you and everybody else. It's still a little bemused, confused. It's certainly given everybody a lot to talk about. I heard Roczen's comments over the last 48 hours as well, which are pretty interesting. And for us, on the broadcast side of things and on the entertainment side of things, it's given us a wonderful layup for this weekend. So much to talk about and to wonder and to see how this is going to play out in now a third totally different track configuration. So I don't think you ever want to give it, as a competitor, you never want to give any of your opponents a leg up. But how is that going to work out in this sport that people don't give enough credit to about the psychological warfare that happens in SuperMotocross competition? So that's going to be yet another reason, a compelling reason to watch this weekend to see how it's all going to play out.
Yeah, honestly, it couldn't have set up better. So it was last October. A couple of us were at the Coliseum to announce what this would be. And as much as we were trying to hype it, that's why we were there. I don't think even at the time we said, and when we get back here, we will have Ken Roczen, Chase Sexton, Jett Lawrence, 3 superstars. Whoever wins the race, with a little help on Roczen's side, can win the title amongst those 3. We have the same situation in the 250 class. That's what we were hoping. I think it's actually been better than we even imagined to have this setup. But it reminds me of something. I also cover the Monster Energy Amateur National at Loretta Lynn's every year, and that's where we scout the amateur riders. And people always criticize it and say, why are they using one race? Shouldn't it be several years or multiple races? And I say, yeah, but it's testing them under pressure. Leigh, when you're announcing the 100-meter dash in the Olympics, does anyone say, hey, it's not fair, there should be 10 races? No, the point is 1. The point is this weekend, which one of these 3 riders in both classes can perform under pressure? You've seen how sports are determined like this. Just explain what that's like to know there is no tomorrow. It's one day for everything.
Well, it takes me back to it's appropriate that you live in Charlotte, North Carolina, because I used to as well. And when our kids were little and we started looking for schools, we went to a charter school presentation for our eldest son. And after about 90 minutes of sitting in the school gymnasium listening to the school principal, we got right to the end and she said, oh, by the way, I've been remiss not to mention any sports. We don't offer a sports program at this school because we don't believe in competition. And I looked at my wife and my wife looked at me and we said, let's get up. We're out of here. So The whole world is competition. And when you have it at this level, to me, that's what makes it just so fascinating, because now the SuperMotocross athletes are at a point in their career where it is delivery time. Previous iterations of either Monster Energy Supercross or the Pro Motocross Championship is you ride it out to the end and you work off your point system. Now, we're in a situation where it's like NFL playoffs or Super Bowl situation, where if you throw that pick six, it's over. If you throw and you make that touchdown winning pass, you're going to be Super Bowl champions. Or in golf, the PGA, the FedEx Cup playoffs, that's a $400,000 putt. Can he handle or she handle the pressure in the LPGA? Whatever it is, to me, in the previous iterations, this has just played out in this lovely linear way. Now the walls are closing in and it's coming to this natural, tip at the top of the triangle. And to me, it's going to be for all of us to enjoy, to see who can sustain that pressure the best, who has that psychological bandwidth to handle that pressure, that extreme pressure. And for us, we're going to enjoy the moto riding and racing, one, but to me, it's that other layer and that other level of that and even take it away from the guys who are going for the SMX World Championship, right? Let's just go down the order. Passing for a lower number could be a $20,000 pass. And for some of the guys at the back, $10,000 or $20,000 is a big deal, a really big deal. And so I think we're going to be watching everywhere, right at the front and also all the way back, because it gives those guys who are not headline makers, but they are good enough to make this field. It's going to be a really big deal this weekend in LA.
That's it. Yeah, we had the concept. This is the execution. I honestly feel like it's come together maybe even better than we imagined. It'll be good to reunite this weekend, see you in the booth, and really get ready for that Olympic Super Bowl style moment, Leigh. It's going to be great.
Can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
Come on out and join us in person. If you can't, here's how you can watch. Of course, Peacock and the Super Motocross Video Pass have everything live. Race Day Live starts at 4:30 Eastern. Our pre-race show at 9:30 Eastern. We'll go racing at 10 Eastern on Saturday. The racing portion at 10 will also be shown on USA Network, and there'll be an encore on NBC at 4 o'clock on Sunday to get all the eyeballs on this incredible winners-take-all event.
Hi folks, Leigh Diffey from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.